Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi. This is attorney Marina Shepelsky. Very happy to be with you guys here this week, today. I'm turning on my banner here. I'm running a little late because we have a lot going on with the news and in the office. And I thank you for your patience. A lot is going on this week. I'm so excited to tell you about all these good things. I am hopeful, I'm hopeful, and I am not going to talk about this with cynicism or sarcasm because we are all going through a lot right now. Attorneys, clients, USCIS, the court system. A lot is happening in this world, and I see that USCIS is really making efforts to fix their system. So I'm going to talk about a lot of the news and things that they've announced they're going to try to do, and I believe they will do. If they're actually going to happen the way they're saying, I don't know, guys. But I'm not going to be one of those negative critics. I'm going to be a positive force. I'm going to be a positive energy, and I'm going to talk about this with the hope and belief that the people in our government are the same kind of people as you and I, and they want immigrants to get their green cards, to get their U.S. citizenship, to get their work permits. I don't think any of it is done maliciously or because they hate us. I really don't think so. I think people are essentially good unless there's a problem. And COVID created a lot of delays and problems. They're not as well staffed as we would like. This is an agency that's supported by the government fees you guys, the clients, are paying. There's no taxes that are going towards USCIS and Department of Homeland Security stuff that has to do with immigrants. They're self-supported. So it's hard, and I understand for the government that's so much bureaucracy. They have to jump through so many hoops to do their job. It's not always easy. And I don't feel bad for them, but I'm just saying, let's be hopeful. Let's be positive on this. I don't remember if I even introduced myself today. I have so much on my mind, but my name is Marina Shepelsky. I'm an immigration lawyer in New York City, but we work with clients, immigration clients from all over the country and all over the world. And we are with you guys right now on your side, trying to get as many people as we can. And we are not rubber, we can only stretch so much, but as many as we can legalized in the United States, getting green cards, getting that citizenship. I'm an immigrant. We have a lot of immigrants on our team. We want to help fellow immigrants. We love immigrants. We think that immigrants are the lifeblood, the support system that this country stands upon. The things that I see our immigrants accomplish are amazing. And I don't see so many even Native American people accomplishing this much because we have that ambition. We have that drive. We are the people who decide we're going to change our lives, and we change our lives, and we change the lives of others. This work that we do changes people's lives, not just your immediate lives, but the lives of your children and their children and many generations forward. If you move to America, your entire family's future changes. You break the old way and you create a new way, like a new pathway. So I'm a strong, passionate believer in immigrants making this country amazing because I am one of you. So today's show, to bring it back to why we're here, is about immigration news this week. And there were a lot of good, positive news for once. So I have good news for you guys. And I want to talk about it. And I want to be emotional about it because I'm so happy about so many of these things. And I'm not going to talk about, if this doesn't happen, then this happens. Let's hope this all happens, okay? So let me go through everything that came out this week. For once, I'm seeing real progress. I see USCIS looking at their business, at the way their whole structure is working and making changes in how it works. The way we are now making changes in our office. Believe it or not, we have grown very quickly. We have a big team. Now we're working on the same processes that USCIS is working on. So, life imitates art here. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. This week, USCIS announced new cycle goals. They're calling them that because these are their internal deadlines that they're setting up for processing all major immigration case types. And I wrote a big post about this on my Facebook page and in the community here. But basically, every form, starting with I-130 family petitions, I-360 VAWAs, I-485s for green cards, work permits, they're going to try by the end of fiscal year 2023, make everything very quickly processed. This is going to cover existing cases if you have something now that you're waiting for, and this is going to cover new cases that are being filed every day right now. They are expanding, so that means they're adding case types where you'll be filing online. They're adding technologies, and this is going to take some time. It's not going to be by 2023, but I think by the end of 2025, like 3 years in the future, work permits, if you will pay an extra fee to expedite, they're calling it premium processing. They will be able to process in less than 2 months, okay? Weeks, not months, but weeks for work green cards, work permits, like that. But for people who are waiting for a green card or asylum or anything else and looking for a work permit, less than 2 months. And if you want to pay them extra $1,500, this is not right now. They're planning on doing this. And eventually, you'll be able to pay extra and get your work permit very quickly if you need it, you know? So that is something really exciting, and I'm really excited about, and I'm not going to say anything bad about it, okay? Because if this works, I think you guys are going to be very happy with our system, and I'll be happy because I'm your representative. We are working for you. We are your mouth and your tools. We are your representatives. We're in the service of you. So we are your mouths, your representatives, and we will be happy because you will be happy. Another great news is that 35,000 more H-2B visas will be added. What is H-2B? It's the people who work in landscaping. They work in amusement parks. They work in the kitchen, like in restaurants. They work in fish and meat plants industries. They are drivers. They're like seasonal or short-term workers. But it's non-agricultural. So because of what's going on with the labor market, and it's funny, but it's probably something related to COVID. But what happened was, as a result of COVID and people getting unemployment and all these things that happened, a lot of American people are not being able to fill the jobs that are out there. And they're kind of low-level employment, like worker type jobs. They're not manager jobs. They're worker level jobs, which are so important. You know, if you go to a restaurant and there's nobody there to clean up the table or wash the dishes, what kind of a nice restaurant experience are you going to have? You're not going to have, because you're going to have to sit there and wait for hours for somebody to come and help you with your meal, nobody to clean up after you. So that's just one example, you know. So these are important things. I see that Department of Homeland Security, the government, is seeing this problem, and they decided to add 35,000 more visas in this category, which is a lot, to help employers in America, restaurant owners, people who own meat packing plants. We have a big supply and demand chain problem right now. Store shelves are empty because there's nobody driving them, nobody packing, unpacking, unloading. These kinds of workers should be able to get the H-2B seasonal visas, and they're adding these visas. So I'm really happy to hear this and to see this. Another good news is that if you received a letter from USCIS, if you have a pending case right now, and there's a deadline to respond, every deadline is getting extended by 60 days. So you have extra 60 days to answer, to reply, to send something to USCIS, and this is to continue helping people with the COVID pandemic delays. So if you have a green card case and they sent you a letter asking for evidence or notice to terminate or notice of intent to revoke, and they gave you 30 or 60 days, you add 60 more days to that deadline. And this is going to continue like this until the end of July this year. In July, they might extend it again or end it. But to help people deal with COVID, mail taking longer. Like you get a letter much later now than you used to before COVID, right? A lot of people are working remotely or not working or getting sick with COVID. So because of that, that's still continuing. They're giving everybody with deadlines on letters extra 60 days. Another new thing that they all came out with, and I'm hoping that this is because we have a woman director now. A woman is now managing Department of USCIS. So because of that, look, us women, we make things happen. We don't argue. We don't posture. We just go and we do our job. And she's doing her job, the director. I see her work. Plus, we got Alexander Mayorkas as the new secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, another very hardworking attorney in charge of things. So things are happening and working to help immigrants, okay? For people who are going to ask for asylum or refugee status at the border in Mexico or in Canada, those people will have to now go through a new kind of system. So they're changing the entire asylum system for people at the border, not for people who come with a visa and then a year later or 6 months later decide to file. Not those people. But the people who don't have a visa, they walk up to the border, they drive up to the border. At the border, they walk up to a U.S. officer, ICE officer, CBP officer, and they say, officer, I'm asking for asylum. I'm on the Mexican side. Please let me into America, right? They're adding a new element to this system. They're saying those people should go through a real asylum interview, and it's going to be quick. It's going to be a fast new way of dealing things. And they're doing this to help with the border crisis because we have a crisis. So many people are at the border right now. They're not able to adequately deal with this. And a lot of human rights are being lost and like not followed, right? So they're adding asylum officers as like the middlemen here. So before the case even gets to a judge, for example, if the CBP officer does what's called the credible fear interview and they don't believe the person, they're still going to give them a chance with the asylum officer. The asylum officer will do a special asylum interview, just like the people who file inside the United States do. These are asylum officers, usually lawyers, not just like officers of ICE, but these people are usually attorneys trained to ask the asylum questions, and they will be offering asylum, withholding of removal, and Convention Against Torture relief. So what they're trying to do is unload the immigration judges from all these border cases, the cases that are being filed at the border, right? They're trying to get the judges to have more time and to have less cases on their plate and for things to move quicker now, okay? Because sometimes people wait for the judge for years. Some critics are saying that rushing this asylum process is bad for new immigrants. On the other hand, I'm so sorry, but somebody who walks up at the border, they do deserve due process. But it's very different from somebody who is inside the United States, came under the visa, files a form, writes their story, and is not under any rush anyway. So this is asking people who are asking to cross the border without any kind of visa, avoiding the whole consular processing, part to get asylum. And I think this is very humane and very logical to add asylum officers to this mix. So I like this idea. I'm hoping, again, that this is going to go well and that this is going to work. And we are a country of law, and I want them to uphold our asylum law and give people a chance. And an officer who's trained with asylum questions is much better suited than an officer who's at the border and has to shoot people or chase people away from the border. You see, those are different things that they have to focus on as part of their job. So they're calling it an overhaul, a change of the asylum system to help streamline and expedite, make faster asylum cases at the U.S. borders. This program will start very soon. May 28th, 2022, they already passed the law. They're still collecting comments, but it's going to start very soon. Also, earlier last week, Biden, our president, announced that we will accept as a country, 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. And we started to get so many phone calls. The thing is, no real refugee program was created. You have to understand, they said we will have TPS for Ukrainians. They said we're going to have TPS for Afghan people from Afghanistan. That's true. It's been announced. But the programs with all the details and forms and instructions have not yet been created. So this is just an announcement. This is just to have something to be written about. There's no program for refugees set up. The most that people are doing from Ukraine right now is if you can make it to the border of United States, you can ask for humanitarian parole. And I'm hearing from clients and, just people who are posting in groups that people are successfully getting from Ukraine humanitarian parole by walking up at the border to a border patrol, checkpoint and asking for humanitarian parole, and they're getting it. Even people who don't have relatives in the United States. So that's happening. It's not it's not a real refugee program, and it's a short-term thing. I don't think it's going to last, but right now they're getting it. So Canada is creating a real refugee program. People are already applying online, and Canadians are accepting refugees. United States is just using whatever systems we have already to welcome Ukrainians, but there's really no real welcoming right now. So just to let you know. You just have to get to the border and ask for humanitarian parole at the border. Let's talk a little bit, just generally, what is humanitarian parole? Because now more than ever, people are asking about it. Humanitarian parole can be in two types. The first type is you file a form, just like you file for a work permit or whatever else. It's a form with an affidavit of support. As the second form, you file those two forms and you say, I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm a green card holder. I would like to sponsor my relative or my friend to come here. There's humanitarian reasons why they cannot get to the border. So I'd like for them to get this in the embassy in Poland or in Czech Republic or in Germany or in wherever the embassy is, because they have a bad situation and they cannot go. They're not going to be eligible to get a visa. We want them to come here officially with this humanitarian parole. That's forms we send to a special department of USCIS, and it takes like 120 days. So that's a long time. It takes like, what is that? 4 months at least to be looked at and to have a response from them. And they look they look at basically the question, how is your relative or your friend special? What's special? What's humanitarian about them? And they really try to see who's eligible, who's not. Some people get approved, some people get denied. So that's that. The other kind of humanitarian parole is somebody from Haiti or Ukraine. They walk up to the border and they say, let me in. I want to stay in the United States as like a temporary refugee, temporary. I have this and this humanitarian problem. Please let me in. And what they do is, if they do give you the humanitarian parole, they give you a stamp on your passport and an I-94 card saying you are admitted, you are inspected and admitted, and they let you come into the United States. And then the next step of that, you can ask for a work permit under the C11 category, but you have to file an I-765. It's not automatic that you can now work in the United States. Not at all. You have to file for work permit, wait to receive it, just like everyone else is waiting. And when it comes, only then you can begin working legally, getting a social in, United States, right? So A humanitarian parole is for a year, a whole year. And what can happen if you have humanitarian parole is you can get asked to come to immigration court, and they will ask you, what are your plans when it ends? You have to give them either asylum or something else. You have to get a way to legalize. You should not be able to get, actually, you won't be able to get a work visa or anything like that, or investor visa once you came with humanitarian parole. It's kind of like asylum, kind of, for a year. It's similar to a status called withholding of removal. It's kind of like that. You get a work permit and you're here legally for some time, but not forever. It's good in some ways as like a last resort for people who just have no visa and no other way, and they need to help. They need help. They need to be helped. They need somebody to like allow them in the country and stay here for a while. That's all I wanted to say. So we discussed the news with USCIS, the new visas for H-2B. We discussed that there's going to be eventually, not right now, but eventually ways to really, really expedite, like very quickly expedite your work permit by paying more and some other case types. They're planning to expedite and make fast processing in almost every case types, except there's 2 case types that were not mentioned. They're not going to expedite asylums, and they're not going to expedite petitions to remove conditions, I-751. That wasn't on a list of any of these goals for expedite. I don't know why, but it's not. The only thing is, I had an officer once tell me at an interview that the I-751 forms are somehow processed through some other like older software they have. Like they have a different system internally, and there's no way, I guess, to expedite it, and I don't know. But I really don't have a good reason why. Let me start talking to you guys directly. The Dream says good morning, always my follower, good morning. Chrissy says good morning. Jadot says greetings, hi. Kelly says good morning, good morning. Mani Kumar says good morning and hello. Adefemi says good morning, Marina, and have a great weekend. You too, thank you. De Kaiser asks, if the USCIS asks you to hear from them in the next 90 days, what is the possibility of hearing from them within that time frame, or will it be 90 days exact? It's never exact. Do not hold them to this promise right now. Jadot is saying they're anxious. You're anxious to hear good news. The good news is they're really trying to make their system better. And they know, and they're hearing all of your guys' complaints, why everything is taking so long, years and years. And they're really going to try, like a company does, like a corporation, to really work on these goals of expediting all these case types. Can I add 2 joint sponsors because my income is low? Yes, you can. Yes. Zulika says, good morning, Marina. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I don't know what you guys have planned this weekend, but my oldest daughter is going to college. We took one day on Monday to travel to this other state called Rhode Island, and we looked at a really good school, a business school. She's interested in a business degree. We looked at it, and she decided it's too far from mommy. She wants to be close to her mommy and her 2 sisters, of course, not just mommy. But she didn't say mommy. She said, I want to be close to my sisters. I don't want to go so far from home. In the United States and many other places in the world, it's customary for kids when they finish high school to go away to college, to another state or somewhere far from home, so they get to experience living life as adults on their own, taking care of their own laundry, their own cooking, going to class every day. Maybe some of them have a job, and they live on campus. They live in the college, in the dorms. We looked at these dorms. They look like tiny little jail cells. Like in prison, they have these kinds of little rooms. And we looked, and she wasn't so happy, and I could tell, although she was prepared. She said that she knew they're like that. Very little closet space, and I don't know, I think at the end she will find something closer to home. She drives, so she's going to drive to class, come home, and stay at home. We'll see how it goes, but she wants an MBA, a master's in business administration. She wants to work in the corporate world. She doesn't want to be a lawyer like her mommy. She says that this is a really hard life, and mommy is working 24 hours a day. She wants to work hard, but not that hard, she said. The dream says, my husband is on top of all his abuse, just told me that he only married me to pay off his back taxes. Listen, the dream, you've been writing here complaining about your husband for a few weeks. If you want to do VAWA, do VAWA. Stop thinking about it. It's not going to get better. This is my advice to you. Hey, good morning. Can I add 2 joint sponsors? Yes, I already said yes. DTPK says, hello. Will there be TPS for Russians or immigration reform? I don't think anything good is happening for Russians anytime soon. I disagree with this, by the way. I personally think Russian people do not deserve everything that's happening to them. But, you know, some people think that people really picked this president, and they're seeing that Russian people are supporting this war somehow. They're trying to blame Zelensky for being too friendly with NATO and all this. I'm not going to get into the politics of this, but no, there's going to be no TPS for Russians, period. It's not going to happen. It's a political decision. It's not going to happen. I think if you do get here, you can ask for asylum if you disagree with the Russian regime. And if you do want to file for asylum, just like any other country, this is a good example for anybody filing for asylum, for political asylum, political opinion. You need to show, if you're from Russia, or you're from Pakistan, or you are from India, or you are from Jamaica, or Haiti, anywhere in the world, that you are expressing your political opinion. You're not just going to write in your story, I disagree with the president of whoever, you know. You have to show that you're writing a blog. You have to show pictures of yourself. If you're from Russia, right now, you take the Ukrainian flag and you go and you stand in front of the UN or the Russian embassy, or even in your town, go to City Hall and stand with a meeting in a protest and your flag, and you have pictures to show you're against the Russian invasion of Ukraine, or you're against whatever it is in Pakistan that you disagree with. You've gone to meetings, you've written flyers, you participated in something, and you need to have written proof of this. Then you have a chance at asylum. TPS is automatic for people right now from Haiti or from Ukraine. Ukraine hasn't started yet. El Salvador, all these other countries. For asylum, you have to prove you had a political opinion or religion or something that made you different from other people. And in your country, you were beaten up, tortured, abused for that. Russia is not getting TPS, and I don't know anything right now. They're quiet about immigration reform. But I think the reform they're talking about is all these news I discussed earlier in the show. They're trying to expedite all the case types, streamline, and make them faster. But Havim says, I get work permit under VAWA, C9. I need to apply for Social Security, or will it come automatically? If you had a good lawyer and they checked off a box on your form, I-765, when you filed for the work permit, it should come automatically. Sometimes it fails for whatever reason, even if they did check off the right thing. You might need to call the Social Security people and tell them you have a work permit, you want a social, what's going on, okay? You should get a social, even though you have an ITIN, because it's just better to have a social. You're absolutely allowed it. You got the work permit, you're fine. Sadiq says, when I can use the apply for exposure service of my marriage-based green card work permit process. I don't understand the question. I'm so sorry. I don't understand the question. I looked at it again. Maybe you can rephrase. And he says, hello. Alexander says, hello, Marina. Do you have any TPS news for Russians who's already in the U.S. but illegal? Alexander, no TPS is going to happen for Russians. Russians not going to get TPS. It's a political decision. But you can do asylum. Call us. I, again, can explain what I just discussed. If you're against Russia, You're against the regime. You're against the war. You politically disagree. You need to express your opinion. You have to write a blog. You have to take pictures at protests. You have to show you joined some organization. Okay, and then we can help you file for asylum, even if you're here without papers for years. Okay, now is the time to do it. Sadiq says, when I can use the expedite service of my green card based on marriage. It's not going to work right now to expedite. They're going to try to do this by 2023. But if you're just like a regular marriage case, there's no way to expedite it right now. Mani Kumar says, whoever watching as a client may mark my words, is the best team. Oh, thank you so much, Mani Kumar. You know, I had somebody post. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm always so honest with you. I'm going to tell you honestly. Before I started the show, I was talking to my team and I was very upset. We have a guy we represent for asylum from another state. And he posted today that he's having trouble working with our team. The problem is you guys are watching this and you're thinking, I am the show. I am the team. I am just the face of the team. We have 3 or 4 now other lawyers other than me in our team. We're adding another attorney right now, so there's going to be 5 other lawyers. We have a bunch of paralegals. People, we like, you know, from another state, we email you asking you to send us information. We send it to you once, twice, 3 times. If you don't want to work with us, if you cannot cooperate, it's very difficult for us to work with you. Every time this guy is talking to us, he always says he doesn't want to talk to the assistant. He wants to only talk to the lawyer. The lawyer doesn't have much to do. The lawyer tells the legal assistant, collect from the client the birth certificate, the passport, the proofs of abuse. Then when I have everything, the lawyer sits down and goes over everything and puts the case together, right? But if you are not willing to work with our team as part of working with us, maybe we're not the right lawyers for you. I cannot work alone with the hundreds of cases that I have under law offices of Marina Shepelsky, PC. So if this works for you, to work with our team, and you have to understand, I personally train everyone. We all work together. We have meetings every week. We talk about the cases. We have somebody who's in control of controlling every case and the flow and stuff. But if that doesn't work for you, you're not going to work well with us. I'm going to tell you right now, maybe we're not for you. If you only want to ever speak to me alone, I'm not for you. I'm telling you right now, I can only do as a family, as a team approach. That's how we work with clients. Thank you, Mani Kumar, so much for your compliment. Thank you. Priscilla says, I got my VAWA approved in January. That's amazing. Congratulations. When will my I-485 form be approved? I filed all forms concurrently, which means together in one package. Do we have a priority date from 2018? Let me tell you how this works, Priscilla. The VAWA is approved in the Vermont Humanitarian unit, the VAWA unit. Once they approve your case, they take a folder like this. Your big case, this is just a, one folder, but your folder is going to look like this, okay? Like this. They take that file, they ship it to where you live, the regional office, right? If you live, let's say, in New York City, they will ship it to 26 Federal Plaza. And then you get what's called in queue, like in line to be scheduled for somebody to actually take your case and look at it, open it like this. An officer who has at least half hour for you and review it and be like, oh, okay, Priscilla doesn't have any arrests. But maybe Priscilla needs a new medical. The medical examination is old or it's not even in there. They will write you a letter. This all takes time. This takes months. So I don't know exactly when it's going to take for your I-485 to be opened, and it's called adjudicated, meaning somebody has to look at it, flip through it to see, make sure. Then they go in their computer system like this. They type in Priscilla's alien number, date of birth, name. They check if FBI, CIA, all the criminal agencies don't have any problems with Priscilla. Oh, Priscilla doesn't have any problems. Okay, I'm going to try to approve her. Where's her medical? I'm missing 2 pictures or something like that. They'll send you a letter. If they don't need anything from you, they could approve you without an interview. But sometimes they interview. We had a client this week, a lady who we got VAWA approved for, I think in like November. and they just got it in New York. They decided not to interview her, but then somebody else was approved in like October. They interviewed, they called up this other lady. They said, you need to come with an attorney. Our attorney went with her. They just did the usual interview questions. Have you been arrested? Have you been deported before? Have you ever seen a judge? Do you have any terrorism problems? Blah, blah, blah. Everything went well. She's getting a green card. For some people, it takes a few months. For some people, it takes like a year and a half. It's hard for me to say, but you are in a good place. Your VAWA was approved. You're not deportable anymore. You have a work permit. You can travel. So you're good. You just need them to look at your case. It's going to take some months. Mazdarto Anand says, I wanted a consultation, but I'm told you are fully booked and I can only have you on the 14th of April. It's not that bad. I have already things being scheduled for end of April. When can I, please, how do you personally work with your associate? You're going to get a consultation with myself or an associate. If you want me, that's going to be April 14th. And I'm telling you openly, my consultations are almost twice as expensive as the other people in my office because I want you guys to work with our team. I want to be free to do these news for you guys, to do some cases that really are super difficult and need my personal attention. And not all of you do. Somebody who just needs to know how fast it's going to take for their case, you can take to my associate. If you need a strategy, my associate attorneys, I personally train and I explain to them what we do, what we don't do. If somebody's trying, like we had a guy we fired this week. I'm telling you guys how it works at our office. We fired a man this week who came from VAWA. He had a very good case. He didn't need to do anything much else. And I explained to him that, look, you live with your wife at her apartment. She's been threatening him. She's been telling him daily she's going to get him deported, demanding money from him. And he has this in writing and video. She sends him videos because he works in a truck. So when he goes on a job, she writes him and sends him videos. And I said, look, if you come back and she threatens you again, it would be nice to have a letter if you go and you have nowhere to stay, if you go to stay at a shelter. He decided to go read all kinds of Reddit forums and other kinds of forums of people talking about their cases. He saw that some people are saying, well, if you have injuries, like physical injuries, you have a better case. And he told our staff member who was working with him on forums that he's going to get his friend to beat him up, take pictures, and send to USCIS. We fired him. We don't do that, okay? You have to understand what kind of evidence we need, but we cannot, have you guys tell us that you're making up your case, okay? We don't work with people like that, and I fired him. So to see me personally, you'll have to wait until April 14th. I'm sorry, I'm just one person. I have to sleep. I have to use the bathroom. I eat. I go with my kids. I'm a human being, and I cannot give up my life for the world, okay? My family needs me too. This is why I created a wonderful team. We have people who do their jobs and well, and they're paid well to do it, believe me. So you have to work with our team. Our associates are amazing. The attorneys I pick, I handpick them. We interview so many people, but I pick only a few who we like, who do what we want them to do as part of our firm, message, our mission statement. So if that works for you, give us a call. Okay, we did this. Mani Kumar is saying, what about VAWA expedite process? VAWA can be expedited, but you have to show some medical or psychological problems, something so bad that makes you need to be expedited, that you're different from everyone else. Madrina is saying, why, if USCIS transfer your case to immigration judge? If they deny you, they transfer your case to an immigration judge. It's not always a bad thing. We always get things from judges that sometimes we couldn't get from USCIS. So don't be depressed. D. Kaiser says, please, can you explain the questions a little bit for me? I don't know what questions you mean. You can give us a call and there's a consultation. We'll explain. Natasha says, Drepol. Good morning. Natasha Drepol says, good morning. Can a stepchild over 21 apply for VAWA? Her mom is married to a U.S. citizen. They got married before I turned 18 years old. Absolutely. Yes. The answer is yes. Give us a call. You can. De Kaiser saying, why shouldn't he hold USCIS to their promise? Because they would answer you if you ask them, if you ask USCIS, why are your promises empty? Why cannot we hold you? They'll say they're doing their best to get a green card. Is a privilege. It's not your right. It's a privilege. Sadiq is saying expedite process started, cannot be used. They haven't started it yet. They're putting the plans in motion right now. Dream says thank you as always. Thank you. Believe me, you won't regret filing for VAWA. You'll be free of your abuser. You can start a new life. A new life is going to be beautiful. You're a beautiful woman. I can see from this picture. Start a new life. You'll find a new partner. You could get married again or not. It doesn't have to be this year or next year or even in 2024. But you'll be much happier when somebody's not abusing you every day. Marina, have a long life. Oh, thank you so much. The Dream says, I know, I'm just trying to get a financial help to start with you. That's cool. I understand. I applied for marriage-based work permit, says Sadiq. Can it be used to expedite process? Only if you have like a health problem or something. Sam Viss says, the new cycle time for I-360 is 6 months. Does it mean that all pending I-360 forms will be processed in the 6 months? No, it does not mean that. It means they will try by the end of 2023 to have all of their cases processed in 6 months. We don't know what it's going to look like yet, but let's see. Let's see. You have to wait and see. Madrina is saying, what if USCIS transfer your case to immigration judge? What can you do? You have to go to court and defend yourself. Hi, Marina. Thanks for your help and understand all immigration laws. Can I apply for TPS for Ukrainian without federal register? And what happens if I do it now? You cannot. They will return it to you. Right now, Ukraine is not yet on the list of designated countries. When it becomes on the list, they will open a page for Ukraine. That page will have all the rules you have to satisfy. So you cannot do it right now. They will just return your package. And Sadiq says, and this is the last comment for today, thank you. Have a long life, Marina. Again, thank you guys so much. I hope all of you have a long life. I hope all of your cases get resolved quickly and you get approved within our immigration system. It's not perfect. It is certainly not ideal, but I think there's good people who work in USCIS. I read yesterday on their Instagram account, and by the way, USCIS has an Instagram account. You can sign up and read what they say. Lots of really, really good, useful information there. By the way, we also have an Instagram account. Find us on Instagram. Find us on TikTok. I do really funny TikToks almost every day, so you can find something useful there too. But USCIS said 55% of people who work in USCIS are women. And now we have a woman director. And I see that there's women doing things there because things are finally moving a little bit. So I hope you guys have a good experience with them. It's not a perfect system, and this is not a perfect world, but we have to deal with what we have. Have a great weekend. I hope everybody enjoys you and enjoys your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.